And now, everyone, it is now time that we are going to go and conclude this episode with the grand finale. And before I go and fully get into this grand finale, I want to go and excuse me, folks. But anyways, as I was saying, before I go into what our final story of this episode is going to be, there is something that I like to go and present to you all, and that is with this clip right here.
这是你的爸爸。这是你的儿子牛来，他可是自己找到这儿来的。
Now, you might be wondering, what the fridge did I present to you here? What was that thing in the first place? And for those of you listening, I just presented a whole bunch of weird computer-generated cows or something like that. Something that just looks massively off and not to mention massively confusing. It looks like a spiritual successor to Joshua and the Promised Land. So what the fridge did I just go and expose to you all here? Well, believe it or not, this is actually the latest animation sensation in China, and its name is Niu Lai, which translate, well, there are different translations. Some say that the translation of Niu Lai is either the arrival of the ox, or some say it's the cow is coming. But either way, people know this as Niu Lai. And yeah, as you have seen, the quality of the animation is like, how can I put this? It's, well, saying that it's unfinished would actually be quite a nice term, like a nice way to go and put it. This is like a bar even below what we have gotten with Video Brinquito. Well, the thing is with Niu Lai is that this is the movie that it was made by only 2 people, or at least the grand majority of it was only done by 2 people, which is a mother and son duo. And I believe they've never made a movie before, let alone an animated feature. I could be wrong there, but Chadwell, you could go and clarify me if that actually is the case. But the point is that this was done by a mother and her son, and they actually spent 5 years in order to go and bring this movie to life. And not to mention that, well, they didn't really put that much money into it. Even the animation software they would use was actually just free software. And they say that if there was a budget, I've heard conflicting reports. There were some that said that it was either just $1,000, and there were others that claimed that it was only $200. Yes, not 200 million, not 200,000, literally just $200. And if you're listening or watching this, there's a very good chance that even you can afford to go and make a Niu Lai level movie. And this is not even to mention, by the way, that one thing that Niu Lai doesn't even have is promotional material. Like, they did absolutely nothing in terms of the marketing. So they didn't release a trailer. There was no press tour. There was nothing to go and tell people, hey, Niu Lai is coming. They didn't even make a poster. In fact, if a movie theater would go and present Niu Lai, well, then the staff there have to do a little bit of an arts and crafts project where they have to make their own Niu Lai poster. And this is just one example. If you go and look it up, in fact, actually, I will do the look it up for you. There is actually like a whole collection of Niu Lai posters that people would go and ultimately create. And hold on, I just want to go and see, like, okay, like I do see some over here and they actually don't look that bad. Like there are some where, you know, they actually made some legitimate art out of it. Like this actually does look pretty impressive. But what I mean specifically is, let's see. Yeah. All right. I think I do. Okay. I think I found a section right over here. Like, here's one example. Here's someone, what, is it? Oh, no, this is AI. Sorry about that. Okay. No. All right. No, I don't think I found anything where, they would have something. Okay, well, actually, technically, they do have an official poster now. Like, this is the real thing. But beforehand, there was a whole trend where people would go and draw their own Niu Lai poster. So that's basically the best that I could go and describe on the matter. Oh, actually, hold on a sec. Someone has given me the Wikipedia page of Niu Lai, and okay, no, they don't have any other examples. Never mind. But anyways, going back to the whole discussion about Niu Lai. So yeah, this is a movie that is that's only made by two people, a mom and her son. It has virtually no budget. That is either just $1,000 or $200, and no promotional material whatsoever. So it should come as no surprise that when it was first released, the first 10 days, it was an absolute failure. In which, to go into my source here on The Guardian, it actually states, released back on August 5th, the film reportedly made just 7,700 won, which is just over $1,100 in US money. And that is just in its first 10 days of screening, with fewer than 300 people nationwide buying a ticket. It did not have any promotional tour, pre-release publicity, or even a trailer. So from there, on its first 10 days, it looks like it was already dead in the water. And this is not even to mention the amount of hate that it received from critics. So you can imagine that critics were just blasting the movie hard, that they were full on despising Niu Lai and saying that it's a disgrace to Chinese cinema and all that kind of stuff. So you can imagine that critics were absolutely harsh and showed no mercy to something like Niu Lai. But then something happened, and that is the internet. Because when the internet discovered Niu Lai, oh boy, did they fell in love with it. Like, this is something that ultimately, it turned out to be so bad that the internet found a way to make it go completely around and to make it say that it's actually good. In fact, from there, when audiences discovered it, when the internet found out about Niu Lai, they actually turned it into a viral meme. And they were just embracing the terrible craftsmanship that is within. And what ultimately happened is that because of its newfound popularity on the internet, more and more and more people went to go and actually see it. And that's when suddenly its box office numbers just went higher and higher and higher and higher. And to go and continue, it even states right over here, from discussions online about how bad the film was, turned it into a meme, which drove hordes of film fans to the cinemas. It has now made more than 14.9 million won, according to the movie trafficking site Maoyan, making it one of the top performing films of the year. And that's one of the things that it is currently highlighting, because right now in Chinese theaters, as I'm recording this, Niu Lai is unironically competing against the top Hollywood films right now with The Odyssey and Spider-Man Brand New Day. I mean, of course, those two films have made much more money in China right now. Like, they've already been released. They've already gotten a lot of fanfare and stuff like that. But right now, even if it's already been a few weeks for films like The Odyssey and Spider-Man Brand New Day, Niu Lai is showing that it could rank up with those guys as well. So this actually kind of turned out to be something like, I know some people might be offended by this comparison, but this kind of turned out to be something like what we have seen with the Amazing Digital Circus, The Last Act, where it actually did some very impressive box office numbers for this little indie animated movie. And I mean, yes, Niu Lai can actually be considered a indie animated film, especially with the fact that it's just made by a mother and her kid, her son, essentially. So from there, the big it's kind of like, I just want to go and also comment right now that it is rather shocking to see how a movie can actually find that newfound fame, that ultimately Niu Lai right now has become the animation equivalent of The Room, where the main reason why people would go and unironically watch something like Niu Lai is to go and have fun with it in an ironic way. Like, people who go in, they know that the movie is not good. They know that the animation is absolutely terrible, but that's part of the fun of the experience. It's to go and riff on it. It's to go and have a good laugh. It's to see all the different crazy scenarios that are being represented in Niu Lai. That's where people are having so much fun with it. And not to mention, now the fact that Niu Lai is actually making millions of dollars at the box office. Hold on a sec. But as I was saying, the fact that Niu Lai is now making millions, this actually does highlight that, much like with what we have seen last year with Ne Zha 2, Niu Lai is now making box office history. It's actually making movie history, in fact. Because keep in mind, the budget that it has is virtually non-existent, with either just $1,000 or just $200. Either way, this actually makes Niu Lai one of the most profitable movies in history. And we are legit talking about ever. Like, there's already been a lot of discussions about how a movie like Obsession, for example, that is made on a low budget, but it was able to go and make like hundreds of millions of dollars at the box office. So the profit that it got in return is like multiple times over. But in the case of Niu Lai, like, even though it's not making like the same incredible numbers like what we have seen with either Obsession or even like the billion-dollar hits like Odyssey or Spider-Man Brand New Day, Niu Lai has managed to turn a profit compared to its its budget like literally thousands of times over. Like, you basically multiply that by literally thousands. And in terms of that kind of multiplication, that is something that is considered to be absolutely unheard of. Like, basically taking those kinds of ridiculous numbers, and then you start to see it, even if it's just doing okay by movie box office standards, it still did incredibly well. And that's why, just like with how Ne Zha 2 is one of the biggest box office hits in history, we're going to hear how Niu Lai has made movie history and box office history with that kind of success right there. And there's also another thing that is worth mentioning about Niu Lai, because believe it or not, a part of Niu Lai's success is mainly because it was made by a mother and a son, and it was not made with AI. So crazy enough, this freaking weird looking cow has now become the Chinese icon of fighting against AI. Because there are people who unironically go and actually bought a ticket to go and see Niu Lai as a way of protest, that they actually wanted to go and actually tell the public that they would unironically go and support a bad movie like Niu Lai, because it is pretty obvious that only a person can go and craft visuals like that, then they would to go and support AI slop. Because I've heard in China, apparently AI slop is actually a lot more prominent in China than it even is in some place like North America and even in Europe. So in that regards, the Chinese people who are against AI, they kind of used Niu Lai as a symbol of their retaliation against AI, where no matter how bad the quality of a project is, as long as it is fully handcrafted by people, they will go and fully support it instead of spending their money on something like AI. And that is honestly such a strangely admirable feat that those people have done, because trying to look at how animation fans are over here in North America, or when it comes to Western animation fans, I don't know if they would have the courage to go and actually pull off something like that, where they would take their values of how animation should be and set that aside to actually do something that would be unconventional for them for the sake of fighting against AI. Because as we all know, right now, the cartoon community is pretty much more unhinged than it has ever been before. I mean, it's at the point where right now they're going out of their way to throw a temper tantrum over the Bluey movie because they're not okay with the fact that it's going to be a CG film. And some of them would even go out of their way to go and do their bullying and harassment tactics, thinking that if they pull off the same kind of moves as the Sonic the Hedgehog movie, then they'll ultimately get what they want, and they'll have the Bluey movie look like how they want it to go and look. So that already is a prominent example of how the cartoon community has gone absolutely unhinged. So they're still massively stuck in their animation is cinema mindset, and that's the thing that's making me doubt if they would go and pull something off like this. In fact, here's another very good example. Like, let's go and consider this, because right now, a movie that the cartoon community decided that they want to go and really hate, or apparently a bunch of fandoms decided that they really want to go and hate, is Lesbian Space Princess. Why? I'm not 100% sure, but they decided they want to go and hate. It's pretty much the latest animated movie that people are just jumping on the bandwagon and just going after it, in which you could tell that most people haven't even seen. I mean, if there are those that claim that Lesbian Space Princess is a series, then that's already a major sign that they haven't actually watched the movie itself, and they just want to go and desperately bandwagon. But anyways, let's go and take Lesbian Space Princess, for example. And I know for a fact that it is a movie that has no AI whatsoever. Would the cartoon community be willing to set their differences aside with, taking their hatred for Lesbian Space Princess, put that on the side, and even taking their whole mindset of animation and cinema, would they go and also take that on the side? And would they go and actually support Lesbian Space Princess as a way to protest against AI? Would they also take action to go and say, I would rather support this bad movie than I would to go and support AI? That's the thing that I'm rather curious about with the cartoon community right now. I mean, I could be wrong, and I'm sure that there are probably a handful of people that would easily do so, no question. But I don't know, I feel like I would doubt, with how the cartoon community is, especially with their animation to cinema mentality, I don't know if they would pull off that same move like what Chinese people have done with Niu Lai. Even if it is something like Niu Lai, I don't know if the cartoon community would want to go and do it. If anything, they would rather just wait for someone like Saberspark to go and make a review about it, to go and slam and shame the feature, saying that it's terrible and all that kind of stuff. Then they would want to actually go and unironically support it for the sake of combating against AI. So I just thought I want to go and highlight that, because it's not every day when you see people unironically elevating and supporting a bad movie like Niu Lai for a cause like combating against AI. Just thought I would go and immediately mention. But yeah, overall, though, I gotta say, with the story of Niu Lai, I will admit, I haven't seen the movie itself, so I cannot go and really comment on it. But from the clips that I've seen, of course, it absolutely looks terrible. And I do get why people say, like, oh, this is the worst animated movie ever. But a part of me is honestly rooting for Niu Lai. Honestly, it really feels like this. Honestly, feels like one of the most underrated underdog stories of an animated movie that has beaten all the odds to go and ultimately become a massive success, and not to mention an anti-AI icon. So honestly, there's a part of it that is unironically cool with seeing this success of Niu Lai, because I feel like it could be like a China only thing. Like, you're never going to see anyone else fully elevate Niu Lai the way that they did, and kind of turn that into a summer event. In fact, like, some people would even go as far and say that in terms of their support, that hold on, I'm trying to see oh yeah, like, so there are some comments that people would go and make that, you know, it's an experience that is indeed worth it. I'm trying to see where it is. I don't know if it's in, oh no, okay, yeah, so like there are these comments right over here, where there are some people that, okay, no, hold on. It actually starts right over here, including with the AI commentary, where it does say right over here that they are sharing clips praising Niu Lai's handcrafted method, a reference to the poor animation quality as proof that its creators did not use AI. That's some serious craftsmanship, a Weibo user wrote. Another social media user called it pure handmade and the biggest dark horse of the summer movie season. Others saying that they are rooting for the movie because they are desperately hoping for a bullish stock market, a reference to the fact that the word bull and cow share the same character in Chinese. If the index reaches 4,000 tomorrow, I will go to the cinema to support this movie. It's a terrible movie, but has a great name. Another comment linking the movie to stock investment. So that's also another reason. Apparently, it's because it's related to stocks that now that people want to go and see Niu Lai. But there's another one, though. Another person commented that honestly, yeah, okay, it's right over here. I think it's the best way to go and summarize Niu Lai, to which it states, you may regret for 80 minutes if you watch it, but if you don't, you'll regret it for life. So that is the big thing with Niu Lai. So with that said, now I would like to go and pass this on to the chat wall, and I would love to know what you all think about Niu Lai and the big success that it has gotten in China. I don't have a lot of time left, unfortunately, but I'll make the most at reading the comments to see what people will say about this. All right, so for a non-Pixar computer animated feature film, especially when it's made only by a third of the cost of a new pair of headphones and gave the mother and son enough money to buy a new car, in my opinion, it will now stand as the 3D computer animation equivalent of The Room. This is why I took the liberty of naming the grand finale pin the story name, You're Tearing Me Apart, Niu Lai. Also, I wonder if this unexpected success could prompt a creation of an English dub. Okay, I'm gonna go and say this right now. If Niu Lai would get an English dub, I'd be so down to go and do it. Like, honestly, I would be more than happy to go and provide my voice on something like this, on something like freaking Niu Lai. Like, honestly, it feels like it would be just a fun thing to go and do. So again, like if anybody who would be in charge of doing a Niu Lai English dub, let me know. I am available. I would be so down to go and do it. All right, let's see now. This movie is to be a meme now. At least we have Gameoverse memes, though. The movie itself has absolutely no advertising whatsoever due to almost non-existent budget. However, the ridicule that the movie received indirectly served as such due to people wanting to see it in theaters to see what it really is about. With its dull surprise voice acting, an off-model CGI character made on a budget by a mother and son duo, I even saw the meme of Niu Lai will return in Avengers Doomsday. Very nice. I honestly never heard of this movie before, aside from Saber Sparks' video on it. Oh, wow. Okay. Wow. Saber's already quick, man. I knew that this feels like something that Saber would immediately go and do. I didn't expect that he would immediately go and make a video about it now. And honestly, while it definitely looks bad, I can't believe how well it's doing. With how it's becoming a meme to the point where people ironically want to watch this, not to mention it was only made by a mother and son, on top of not using AI, it really is the animation equivalent of The Room, where it's so bad it's actually entertaining. Oh man, it would also make for a great AniMat watches. Like if ever like there's a way I could go and check it out, like at least if there's like a sub version of it and like you get a good quality version that is globally available, I'd be down to check it out and do an AniMat watches of that. Let's see now. First, disregarding how bizarre that a mom and son with free software managed to make something for cinemas, what is wrong with critics tearing into a passion project made by a family? Seriously, you'd think they look at stuff audiences would have to spend actual money on. But I, for one, would fully embrace a low-budget, cheesy labor of love made by a human, especially a kid. I don't know if it's a kid, actually. I think it's like... You know, I think it's either like a 20 or 30-year-old man and his mother. But anyways, who's genuinely trying to develop his talent over anything that takes no work and just steals from other artists. Yeah, exactly, dude. All right, I think I'll read one more and then we're going to go and cap this off. You know, AI is becoming more and more problematic where we're now looking at bad animated movies fondly. It's refreshing seeing Niu Lai getting a lot of love and attention because you don't need to have good animation to prove that humans are involved with the film that they've made and it will have heart. I watched the whole video on Saberspark. Oh, I watched the whole on Saberspark's stream a while back and it's a beautiful disaster, I could tell you. In all seriousness, it's so great that a bad movie comes in to prove that AI sucks. Exactly, man. It's better to have something like Niu Lai than it is to have AI.